Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Wednesday, which is the Addams Family TV show on Netflix. There's been 2 seasons so far. It's produced and sometimes directed by Tim Burton, which is obvious when you see it, and it was created and written by Alfred Gough and Miles Millar, and they've got other writers helping them, but they're the guys in charge. They also wrote Beetlejuice recently for Burton, and they did Smallville in the past, so they're experienced television writers. Netflix got the rights to Addams Family, so they made a TV show out of it, but they actually just focus on Wednesday and bring another family around her, which is a very good move because Wednesday tends to be the most dynamic character people remember. I mean, in the 90s films that Barry Sonnenfeld directed, Christina Ricci played Wednesday, and she was the dynamic character of those films, and it's just this that Wednesday character just pops out. Is this lot of this kind of gothic girl who's a very dark sense of humour, is very intelligent, and just twisted, but likeable despite that because she's just brutally honest. So they decided to bring this to the small screen, but spend money on it. So yeah, I said there's been 2 seasons so far. I'd only started watching it when the second season came out. I'd seen that one episode of the first season, which in the first episode of it, it's so much introduction. I never really got into it that much. It was just like, yeah, it's okay. There's some funny bits, but it's just because it takes Addams Family. But Wednesday goes to school, and there's this kind of gothic school that's very Harry Potter in the design, the idea of it's a school for special people. I did a video on Vampire Academy, which also had this idea recently. And so it's a kind of cliche, but luckily the people behind this one understand this is a cliche. It's been done. Now let's have some fun with it, and let's make it like almost the anti-Harry Potter, where the teachers are just weird, and the students are just weird, and even when they're secret societies and things, it turns out they're just dysfunctional and strange people doing it, and it's not being seriously. So there's this sense of, yeah, this setup's now a cliche, so let's have some fun with it and push it into weird directions. And I'm sure the success of this has been a big reason why the Harry Potter TV show's about to start. It's shooting just now, and they're going to readapt the books into TV seasons. And it's like, yeah, this is basically because Wednesday was a massive hit, and they realised, oh, we can redo this in TV now. So yeah, Wednesday has been a big influence on lots of people. This show, and you can see why it just works in a way that I think the Harry Potter TV show might not, because it's trying to placate the fans. Well, in this show, it's like this is for the fans who like just dark humour. This is like a show that seemed to be aimed at a certain audience who like dark humour, but everyone got into it anyway. It became much bigger than anyone expected. It's just that kind of thing where the Addams Family's always been popular, but there's been a ceiling to it, and this one show just taken off. So it seems like a lot of people grew up with the films and now they're interested in the show, and it's becoming bigger and bigger. And it's successful because after the initial first episode, when it gets going, it does become interesting and fun, and they stick to the characters. They don't like try and change them to make them cute or make them, homely or anything. No, these characters are weird. Wednesday's the eldest child. She's got an annoying little brother, Pugsley. She doesn't get on with her mum, Tish Addams. She's the apple of her dad's eye. She's Gomez, and she's got an Uncle Fester who's a bit of a criminal, and there's a thing, the hand that goes and does everything for her, and he's like her sidekick, and there's Lutz, and the chauffeur. So they've all the characters are there, but they're all done in a very strange way that's right for the world. Like usually Gomez is a bit more suave than he is here. Here he's just this. He's more comic accurate, where he's just this weird little guy who's in love with Morticia. And you know, it's like Louis Goodman plays him, so he's not like Raul Julia who can do all the show offy suave stuff. He's much more like a sad little bugger, and it works. Once you get used to it, it works. Catherine Zeta-Jones is Morticia. She's not as funny as Angelica Houston was in the part, but she's more pained and someone who's trying to. It's less quippy jokes, as much someone who's trying to kind of survive and deal with this annoying daughter of hers and dealing with her son and the rest of it. You don't get Pugsley much in the first season, but the second season you get him a lot more, and he's just this awkward young man who ends up befriending a zombie. But the stars of the show are really The Thing and Wednesday. Wednesday played by Jen Ortega, who just gets Wednesday. She just gets the, like, you don't move much, the sarcastic comments, the contempt she shows for people just in her eyes sometimes without even saying anything. She just got the part down perfectly. And her command of the part really helps because even when sometimes it has to go into like action stuff for the action finale, she keeps it grounded. Like she's a character who tells people the worst thing possible, deadpan. Now I'm going to say I think the second season's better than the first. I think the first season was them figuring it out, but there was some stuff in the first season that I thought could have been done a bit better. In the second season it feels much more confident, like they know what they're doing. In the first season, trying to put Wednesday into a dramatic ending when she's much more of a character who keeps herself to herself meant the character seemed to have to change to become more of an action heroine in the last episode, which seemed a bit out of character the way they wrote it, which just felt a bit off. But in the second season they'd worked out how to have her in those social situations and have her still be Wednesday, and it actually worked a lot better. And just little kinks, like in the second season they bring her family into it more, and that works because the dynamic of her not on her family just has a more of a intriguing, setup really. So they're there, but they're not there all the time. They're supporting characters, but they're not like on the centre stage at every moment. So the Wednesday also in this show has her best friend, who's this girl who wears lots of bright clothes, and she's like a social the way Wednesday is antisocial, and she accepts people as they are. Well, Wednesday judges them harshly, but they just work together as a team. The actresses work together as well, and it just becomes this thing of the opposites just work. So even though they annoy each other a lot of the time, are fighting half the time the way girls tend to do, there's never any suggestion of them actually they're going to fall out really. They're going to fall out the way girls fall out and fall back in for a day. There are some nice moments when Wednesday's writing her novel, and and then when people read what she's written about them, they're horrified because she's so judgmental in a way it's pure Wednesday Addams, but it's from, if you read it in writing, it's like, God, that is so judgmental. So there's lots of fun things like that going on in the show. The character work really works, and the atmosphere works, because Tim Burton was the director who set up the style of the show, and he would come back and do certain episodes, and he's directing. You tend to feel like he knows what he's doing with certain things, but especially in the second season, where it feels like there were certain things I had to do in the first season, like have a potential boyfriend problem which they get rid of in the second season, and just to do more stuff like there's a secret society and there's people who are jealous of each other. Well, they have that in the first season more. In the second season it's like the characters set up and you just watch them interact rather than having lots of like the cliches of the genre, and they set up the balls and different things and different new characters for them to never interact with, and it's just a much stronger setup. So yeah, I mean, but that makes it sound the first season's not so good, and I don't know, it really is funny. The first season's really enjoyable. It's just that you just get a sense in the second season they've figured the show out, and it's just more confident. They can stop and go to the side for an episode. They can seemingly waste half an episode in some little side plot that might never come back to the main plot, or it might set up something in the main plot that's just you could have done a different way. But it allows them to do more Addams Family humour and do some more absurdities within it, and it just works better. It just like it accepts what the show is, and accepts it can be imperfect and weird and go off in different tangents. Those tangents are all interesting. So just the whole kind of feel of the show is just much more alert and what it's about in the second season. But throughout, there's tons of great jokes. There's just wonderful jokes throughout. The actors understand exactly what they're doing, especially as they go on. They get more comfortable in the parts, and they get more comfortable within what they need to do. And you just get a sense of the world has been worked out. It's not like, to be honest with Harry Potter, you always felt like, I just watched the films, I didn't read the books, but in the films I always felt they were just adding lore in some ways it was kind of empty, at least in the films. It was like, why do you need all this stuff? It just feels like you're contradicting yourselves, or you're adding stuff for the sake of it and not fleshing it out. Maybe in the books it was different. Maybe those things were fleshed out in ways that made sense. But in the films, there's something just felt like, they're there. They were from the books, so we just have to put them in. In this, it feels like, no, we just put in the stuff we need to put in. And if we add some more backstory to people, it's usually given a kind of weird, sick twist to it that makes it enjoyable. So even if they actually are like having to adjust certain things as they go, they do it with some confidence, and they know they've got a certain amount of episodes to do it, so it feels kind of organic to the characters, and there's never like a sense of we're going towards this big conclusion. It's like there is a conclusion to each season, but it's especially the second season, the sense is this is the end of a chapter, and you're going on to something else. Like the villains have their own backstory that are interestingly done. Everyone's motivated in this world, at least. You have some fun bits, but there's character actors who have worked by Burton before. So you have like Steve Buscemi in the second season coming in as the new guy in charge of the school, who's obviously a total con man. You have Casper Van Dien, who was in Sleepy Hollow with Burton, as this like drunk, shady guy, who you don't really get him to see that kind of stuff very often, but obviously Burton must have liked him as an actor and just said, come in and do this for me. And Burton's quite good with that with actors. He brings them in after he's worked with them, and if he likes them, he brings them in for other stuff. You get lots of that. I mean, Christina Ricci, who was Wednesday in the films, comes in to play a character in the first half of the second season, and she gets to do something that's completely unlike Wednesday Addams. So it's like, again, he worked with her Sleepy Hollow. So Burton's very good at bringing in actors who he knows, who can just come and do certain character beats that are a bit just off to the side of what you'd expect. And he just works. He seems to have for someone who's so visual, he does seem to have a good relationship with actors. They all seem to come in and keep working with him, so obviously the sets are fun. So yeah, just the atmosphere of the film, or the TV show, feels like mini films in some ways, but also you do feel there's a kind of episodic feeling of the writers know what TV is and what it does to do episode to episode, but you also get that against the Burton thing of to make everything a bit more episodic, and each episodic thing becomes its own little movie. So it actually works quite nicely. So what could have just been an episodic story can be grown out to become something that's a bit weird and more interesting than what its function would normally be. So I think it's obvious like the showrunners and Burton work off each other well and understand, like, you can get this far and I can go do this other bit with it. So basically the backstory of one of the characters can become a stop motion thing that would never happen under any other director, but it gives the backstory of this character a lot of atmosphere, so that it does a lot of the work for you. later on, as you get to know more of the character. So that kind of balance works it really well. And there's also the actors understand where they are and what they're doing at all times. There's always some dark humour involved. Like whenever it gets too serious, they can always give Wednesday Addams or Thing a bizarre joke, or they can bring in Uncle Fester, who's played by Fred Armisen, who's just weird. He's just in a world of his own, and he can create something that's just odd. So that's a very enjoyable show. If you like gothic, if you like dark humour, this will work for you. But even if you're not really into that, the characters are still enjoyable, and there's still decent enough stories throughout it to keep you going. So yeah, definitely recommend to go and watch this Netflix if you're Netflix. This is an easy watch. So hope you enjoyed the video. That's me for now. Bye.